and it's going to be yoga fundamentals. So the course of the next couple weeks, we're going to have this progression that we'll go through, and we're going to start with the basics. Why not? It's the beginning of the year. So let's go ahead and begin. Start with the feet about, I'll face you guys, but feet about shoulder distance, palms together, eyes closed, drop the shoulders. Start breathing in and out of your nose. Palms together. Take a moment and set an intention. So intention to release some stress, to heal, to strengthen, whatever it is for you that makes sense, that adds a deeper meaning to your breath and your movements. So can be to just smile a little bit more. It could be to heal your back, or if you had some other ailment, could be, whatever it is that sort of makes sense, but that almost like a purpose for the particular class. And breathe that in. While you're doing that, go ahead and drop your head down over to your left side. Nice, easy neck stretch. Good, and then switch sides. Same thing. Good, and then we're going to drop the arms, make a few circles with the head, one direction. Good, and then opposite direction. And just starting to roll a little bit here. And as I mentioned, today is all about the fundamentals of yoga. There are three kind of main fundamentals, four, I guess. Now some shoulder rolls, forward and back, forward and back. One of them is lines of energy. So we'll talk about that in the specific poses. Right? So this first pose we're doing is called Tadasana, mountain pose. You can relax the shoulders for a moment. You just want to sit and stand tall for a moment. Notice if you're slouching, so from the side, right, that's a slouch. You see loads of people do that. The idea is to lift your heart up slightly and pull the shoulders back slightly. Not too much, you don't have to puff your chest out. Sometimes it's fine to puff the chest out just to counteract, to see the difference of, the slouch to this. But more so you want to be kind of generally, standing kind of firm, shoulders relaxed a little bit, and externally rotate the shoulders if you can. So that's a big thing. There's this, and then there's open. There, just by externally rotating the shoulders, you may start to stand up a little bit taller. But again, don't push the ribs out. Think about a teacup, and your hips, your waist is the lid of the teacup, and you don't want to spill tea forward, and you don't want to spill tea back, right? So steady here, and also on the feet there, you see you want to be grounded in all four corners of the feet. So meaning the balls of the feet and the heels of the feet. Just think about the outer ball, just kind of like right under the knuckle of your little pinky toe, and then the bigger knuckle under your big toe. That's the two front corners of your feet. And then you want to have balanced weight in the back and the heels. So from there, standing up tall, relaxing. It's called Tadasana or mountain pose. The basic first pose that you learn. And there's sometimes people say you can just have your arms straight down this way, and other times you can stand up taller and open up, and it becomes a little bit more active. All right. So from there, go ahead and take a nice deep inhale, lift the arms up, interlace the fingertips, turn the palms up. And if your shoulders are tighter, you interlace the fingers, straighten the arms forward, and see how far up you can bring the arms until you start to puff out those ribs and bring the ribs down slightly, and just isolate the shoulders. If you're more flexible in this way, you can take your thumbs and you can turn the hands so the little fingers, pinky fingers, come down toward the back of your tush, your butt and the thumbs go up, right? So that's going to give you a little wrist stretch, and then straighten the arms a little bit more. Keep breathing. And then we're going to fold over to one side. So a gentle fold over to one side. Good, and then switch sides. So one fundamental is called lines of energy. Right now, if you think about it, if you come back up to the center, our body's in a straight line, basically. Right? Feet shoulder distance, hip distance, straight line up and down. If we bend, go ahead, bend back to that second side, then you're bending the line. So the energy doesn't flow as freely through your body when the line is bent. So just as a quick, you can release the arms from there, but just as a quick thing, in half moon pose, right, your arms form a straight line, the standing leg is a straight line, and the top leg is a straight line. And ultimately your spine is straight. We try to get that torso straight. So that's the idea. Now, at the front of your mat, go ahead and hang forward and relax here. So just drop the head down, relax. You can have your legs slightly bent. So there's times where you want to focus on the straight lines in the poses, and there's times where you don't. Like right now, I'm bending my legs. My legs are a little bit tighter this morning. But in general, I just always start with the legs bent. It's less pressure on the back of the legs, less pressure on my actual back, and just hang forward and breathe. Good, and then from here you're going to clasp the hands back behind you, interlace the fingertips. Second fundamental, lines of energy and consistent breathing. So your breath, right? Having that good, smooth, even breath in and out of the nose if you can. There's a practice during our challenge. We'll work on Ujjayi breathing. Ujjayi breath is literally translated as the breath of victory or victorious breathing. And it's kind of a slight constriction of the throat, but you breathe in the nose into the back of the throat. And two main ideas there. One more breath in your shoulder stretch here. And then release the arms. We're going to roll back up, so abdomen strong, bend the knees. Always when you go up and down, engage the abdomen a lot if you can. Take a nice big inhale, lift the arms up. And then fold all the way down, forward, exhale. We're going to do a couple half sun salutations. So halfway up, extend the spine, hands to the shins, look forward, and fold down. Drop your head. All the way up again, nice big inhale. Hands together at the heart as you exhale. Arms up again, inhale. Folding down forward as you exhale. That sound, the breathing is Ujjayi. Halfway up, inhale. Exhale, fold. All the way up, inhale. Hands together at the heart, exhale. Now we're going to step back. So arms up again, inhale. All the way down, fold forward. Legs bent, it's totally fine. Halfway up, hands to the shins. If you're more flexible, you can have your hands on the floor. Now go ahead and step back to plank pose, top of a push-up. Hold it here, a few breaths. We were talking about the cold earlier, and I'm hoping that I can somehow get used to the cold. Katie, do you get used to the cold? I feel like it's not something you get used to. Yeah. Yeah. All right, we're going to do a couple push-ups from here, yoga type push-ups, so you can drop the knees if you need to, but otherwise the elbows are back, so lower halfway down, chaturanga, and then push back up. With breath, so you can lower on the exhale, inhale yourself back up. 3 more, lower on the exhale, abdomen strong, Inhale, back up. 2 more, lower. Back up. 1 more. Good. Now definitely drop the knees. Cat and cow tilts for the spine. As you inhale, lift the heart up. As you exhale, round the back, tuck the tailbone. Keep that going. Inhale and exhale. So we got 2 fundamentals so far, lines of energy and breathing, right? Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. 1 more, inhale and exhale. Okay, then we're gonna go side to side. So you're gonna lift the feet side to side. So another fundamental that they talk about is, in yoga, there are pushers, I forget what this is, or basically coasters. I think they were pushers or coasters. So people who will come to yoga and in downward facing dog, for instance, just get to down dog and do sort of the basic down dog. And then there are people who are in down dog who are just like pushing really hard, right? So what you want to do is ultimately find that balance for you. So side to side still, you're kind of snaking the spine here, back and forth, side to side. So it creates this awareness, downward facing dog from here. So down dog as a review, fundamental here, review, basics. Fingers spread. The down dog starts in the hands. Look at the hands. Make sure the fingers are spread, the palms are flat. Right? You want to have space, equal space between the 4 fingers. Right? So there's 3 different spots between the pinky and the ring finger, middle finger, index finger. Obviously there's more space between the thumb, but if you can, and then you press down in the knuckles. So here's another thing. Oftentimes those knuckles will come up. I want you to push down, palms of the hand, press down, and then you extend. So you can drop the head now, keep the feet bent a little bit, legs bent, and then extend the shoulders. So push out of the shoulders. Walk the feet a little bit closer together, bend your left leg, push the right heel down, stretch. Breathe into the back of that leg. And I know if you've been practicing with me for a while, some of this will be redundant, but that's okay. It's good to hear multiple times. So in your stretch, now go ahead and switch sides. Right now we're just stretching, right? We're just bending the right leg, pushing the left heel down, stretching the back of the left leg. There is a way. You're also pushing the knuckles down, extending the shoulders, lifting the tailbone. There is a way to just make this stretch a little bit more efficient, let's say, by tilting the tailbone up. So that's a slight move, right? I'm exaggerating it here, but to stick your butt way up. And then as you do that, it's your pelvis that goes up. Then you push the heel down. You just get a bit more of an efficient stretch. So let's switch sides back to the first side and just lift the tailbone up. All right. Good. Now straighten both legs. Come up on the toes, walk softly to the hands. When you get there, extend the spine as you inhale, fold as you exhale. All the way up. Nice big inhale. Hands to the heart. Exhale. Big full breath. Now we're going to flow through what's called Sun Salutation A. Arms up, inhale. Folding down forward as you exhale. Extend the spine as you inhale. Step back as you exhale. You ultimately linking the movement in the breath. And then you can take an inhale here and lower all the way to the mat as you exhale. Gentle inhale and Cobra Pose. This is the easiest way to get through this. Shoulders are down, heart lifts up. So your body's on the floor. Just take an extra moment, feel it out. You might be down here and just barely getting up. That's totally fine. You may be more flexible and you can straighten the arms. What I don't want you to do is if you're in Cobra Pose. So Cobra is different from upward facing dog. We'll discuss that. But basically, upward facing dog is when your hands and feet touch the floor, nothing else. Cobra is when your hips stay on the floor. Some people I find doing this kind of hybrid thing, which is they push their arms straight and their hips come off the floor, but their knees stay on the floor. That's not really a thing. I mean, it kind of is, but it's not a pose in yoga. Cobra, hips are on the floor, shoulders draw back and down. This becomes more of a triceps thing. So you're lifting the body up. Think about extending out, so expanding, kind of extending out of your lower spine and getting more into the thoracic and upper spine. But you don't want your shoulders in your ears, which is why in Cobra Pose, you want to keep the arms bent. So lift up a little bit taller, one more inhale, and then Child's Pose, back to Child's Pose. Just take a few moments. And then Downward Facing Dog when you're ready. Come on up, tuck the toes, Downward Facing Dog. And find space. So ultimately you want to lengthen the body. And lengthening means letting go of some of the tightness, some of the tension, and we're doing that in a bunch of different ways. With the intention, with the breathing, with the movements. Come up on the toes when you're ready. Walk softly, or you could jump forward. Extend that spine as you inhale, look forward. Fold as you exhale, stretch all the way up. Nice big inhale. Hands together at the heart, exhale. Full breath, and always assessing in the beginning as you start to move, how does your body feel? Is it okay? Is it okay to do that? Is it okay to switch and move? So let's now flow, arms up again, inhale. We'll do two more. Fold down, forward as you exhale. Extend the spine as you inhale, and then step or jump back. If you're jumping, you're ultimately landing in Chaturanga, but you can also land in plank and then lower to Chaturanga. Here's Upward Facing Dog. So now it's just my hands and feet that touch, and you pull those shoulders back, and then you go back to Downward Facing Dog. So if the jump back and the Upward Facing Dog are not for you, then you step back and you lower all the way to the mat and take an easy Cobra Pose. So you have to really find your level of the practice. One more breath. And by the way, that could change up on the toes again, walk or hop. Day to day, halfway up as you inhale, fold as you exhale, all the way up, nice big inhale. Hands to the heart, exhale. Good, one more round, arms up again, inhale. So your choice, however you want to get through this. Fold down, forward as you exhale, extending that spine as you inhale. Step or jump back. Chaturanga. Upward Facing Dog, easy, shoulders pull back. Downward Facing Dog. There is the extra Chaturanga too, which we'll get to. From here, right leg goes up behind you. Downward Facing Dog, right leg up, hold it up there, breathe. Sinking that left heel down, just a few breaths. Extend the shoulders, keep the breath smooth. One more inhale. And then shoulders over the wrists, some core strength. Shoulders over the wrists, knee to the nose, abdomen strong. And then lift it, back and up. Forward knee to your left side, little twist and squeeze. Back and up. Forward to your right. Back and up. All the way forward to the hands. From here, come on the fingertips. If you had blocks, you could grab them. I didn't bring mine today, but I'll grab them next time for demonstration. Straighten the front leg and then bend the front knee. Straighten the leg and bend. Keep it going. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And this is so much about an exploration through your body. How does it feel for you when you sink and push the hips down? How does it feel when you straighten the leg? And on and on. A couple more times. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Turn the back foot flat. Come on up to Warrior One. We're going to hold Warrior One. Warrior One. Back foot is flat. Hips turn forward, arms up, sinking the front leg down, breathing deeply. So obviously, we think about the lines of energy in that fundamental, your front leg is bent. So you're not really worrying about the line of energy there, but you are in any kind of straight limb. So in the back, we want the energy running freely through the leg. In the torso, you want to turn your torso forward in Warrior One and then reach the arms up. Now you have energy. So this is active, right? You're reaching up. And in the flow, which we'll do eventually, I always like to watch the palms touch. So sometimes people are looking forward and they just kind of flail their arms up and come and bring them back down. But I think it's just nice to kind of close the pose when you bring the palms together. So sink lower, look up, bring the palms together, reach up, take a big inhale, stretch, and then hands down. Take the leg back. Vinyasa, this little section is a vinyasa. So you lower down, remember, all the way to the mat or halfway, upward facing dog, and the extra push-up that I mentioned is here. So you go back to chaturanga, then back to down dog. Unnecessary, but an option if you want it. From here, left side, take the leg up behind you, hold it, breathe. Extending the shoulders, lifting that back leg, stretching your right leg. One more inhale. And then shoulders over the wrists, knee to the nose, abdomen strong. Lift it back and up. Forward knee to your right side. Twist. Back and up. Forward to your left. Back and up from there. And all the way forward to the hands. Pause there on the fingertips or blocks if you have them. You need them. Straighten the leg, flex the foot, bend the knee, drop the hips down. And by the way, the blocks, I know sometimes people will come in and like, oh no, I don't need blocks. Like it's a handicap if you have blocks. Blocks are fantastic. They help you get into poses a little bit better. So you don't have to think about using blocks as a handicap, that's for sure. Straighten the leg, flex the foot. Straighten the leg, and then bend the knee, sink in a little bit. A couple more. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. One more. Inhale and exhale. Good. Turning the back foot flat down. Come up to Warrior One. Holding Warrior One. Remember, front leg is bent. Ultimately, this is another thing about Warrior One. Oftentimes I will see people with their leg not bent so much. It's supposed to be bent. It's supposed to be it's a warrior pose, right? Warrior, strength, strong. So it's supposed to be bent. Now my hips are tighter in general in this way. So it's a harder thing for me to get down and kind of hold this here. So I'm up just a little bit. Back leg is really strong, turning the hips forward, arms up from here. But it should, like if we held Warrior One for 30 to 60 seconds, it should definitely feel like a hard pose. So if you're up here, if your leg is straight, it's not going to be that hard. So if you're just slightly bent, also not that hard. So give yourself a little bit and then turn the upper body forward. Take a few more breaths. Good, now look up, bring the palms together, reach up, take an inhale, and then both hands down to the floor. Leg back, Vinyasa, lower down. Upward facing dog, shoulders pull back, and then downward facing dog. Excellent. Hold it here, breathe, fingers spread, re-check in, palms flat, extend the shoulders, lift the tailbone, breathe. So this goes back to that thing that I talked about, the pushers versus the coasters, and that's not exactly the word, but people who just kind of coast along the way, right? So the idea is to make this a bit more active. So really extend the shoulders, really lift the tailbone, really press the thighs back. You can make down dog an incredibly active pose if it's not already. So 2 more breaths, push back. Good, now up on the toes again.
Walk or hop forward. Extend that spine as you inhale. Fold as you exhale. Chair pose from there. Bend the knees, reach the arms up. Hold chair. We're going to hold for 30 seconds. Definitely not worrying about any lines of energy here unless you can get your torso and your arms in a straight line. If that's the case, that's what you want to see if you can find. That straight line from the hips all the way through the torso, through the shoulders, through the arms, and out the fingertips. Maybe looking forward or slightly up, sinking lower. One more inhale. And then stand up, bring the hands together at the heart. Take a nice big full breath. So now, that's a lot of breaking down stuff. We're going to link all of it together, or most of it together, for Sun Salutation B. We're going to do 3 rounds of Sun Salutation B. Chair pose. Inhale. Fold down as you exhale. Extend the spine as you inhale. Step back or jump back as you exhale. Lower all the way to the mat or halfway down. Upward facing dog or cobra. Downward facing dog. Right leg first, take it up behind you. Bring it all the way forward. Warrior 1, that back foot turns flat. Deep bend in the front leg, reach up, watch the palms touch. Hands down, abdomen strong. So right away, you got the core moving all the way to the mat or halfway. Heart open, shoulders pulled back. Down dog, left side, take the leg up. Bring it forward. Warrior 1, reaching up, inhale. Hands down to the floor, leg back. Vinyasa, lower down, upward facing dog, and downward facing dog. Good. Hold and breathe. Find that breath again. Extend the shoulders, lift the tailbone, breathe. Letting go of any tightness, tension, let any stress that you may have had or have, just let it kind of slide off the back of your head, back of your neck. One more breath. And then up on the toes again. Walk or hop forward. Extend the spine as you inhale. Fold as you exhale. Chair pose again. Inhale. Stand up, hands together at the heart. Exhale. Take a nice big full breath. Two more rounds. Chair pose again. Inhale. Fold down as you exhale. Extend the spine as you inhale. Step back or jump back as you exhale. Vinyasa, lower. Upward facing dog. Down dog. Right side, take it up behind you. Bring it forward. Warrior 1, reach up, inhale. Watch the palms touch as you reach, stretching the torso, hands down, leg back. Vinyasa, lower. Upward facing dog, down dog. Left side, take it up, bring it forward. Warrior 1, reach up, inhale. Hands down, leg back. Vinyasa, lower. Upward facing dog, maybe the extra chaturanga. And then down dog. Hold it and breathe. Reset. New moment. A new pose, even though it's down dog that we've done thousands of times. It feels different, right? The whole Zen saying, you can never step in the same river twice. Well, you can never do the same down dog twice. Because it's always different, right? Last night, Liam woke up. My little guy woke up from, what was it, 2:30 to 3. Up on the toes again, walk or hop forward. But he's been sleeping so well lately. Halfway up and fold. Chair pose, I just thought it was ironic that chair and then stand up, hands together. Like when I'm getting ready to start my 15-day revitalizing challenge, you have to wake up in the middle of the night? Come on, buddy. One more round. Chair pose when you're ready. Inhale. But so my down dog is different than if I had a full night's sleep. Fold as you exhale, halfway up as you inhale, step or jump back, chaturanga. It might feel pretty similar, but down dog. When you're ready, right leg, take it up and bring it forward. Warrior one, inhale, reach up. Hands down, leg back, vinyasa. Last night I also had my final piece of my wife's cake that she made, I think around Christmas time. Left leg up, bring it forward. Warrior one, sweetened with maple syrup. Hands down, gluten-free, sweetened with maple syrup. So it was my treat for the last week and a half. Downward facing dog. Downward facing dog, hold it here, breathe. One more breath. And then up on the toes again, walk or hop forward to the hands. Extending the spine as you inhale, folding as you exhale. Chair pose, bend the knees, reach the arms, inhale. Stand, hands together at the heart, exhale. I shared this the other day. I don't know if it was publicly or not, but I'm not typically one for the scale to weigh myself, but every couple of years I'll just go, or if I'm racing, I'll go, I wonder how much I weigh, and then I always try to lose a few pounds before I go race. And so one day, I just literally for like a week, I started weighing myself, and I'd weigh myself a couple times a day just to see how it fluctuated. And there was one day I fluctuated 7 pounds in one day. So don't pay too much attention to the scale. It's much more about how you feel. So we're going to go back through that was 3 Sun Salutation B sequences. Now we're going to go through kind of a basic Warrior 2 sequence. And we're going to break it down a little bit. So chair pose when you're ready. Inhale. Fold as you exhale. Again, fundamentals of yoga. This particular Sun Salutation, halfway up, step back. Vinyasa is really the basics to upward facing dog, down dog, right side first, take it up, bring it forward. Warrior one first, and then we're gonna go warrior two, open up to the side. Really the basics to any kind of flow yoga practice. So we'll discuss this more in the group. But there's Hatha yoga, which is really a big umbrella. And then there's Iyengar yoga, Ashtanga yoga, there's Kriya yoga, Raja yoga, Vinyasa yoga, right? So there's like a million different, not a million, but there's a lot of different kinds of yoga. So Warrior Two, I want you to first take a look at your feet. The philosophy, as below, so above, is another fundamental I want you to think about. As below, meaning your feet, so above. The rest of your body follow the groundedness of your feet. So the back foot is flat down. Warrior Two should be getting a little bit more intense as we hold it. And then front knee is bent, front foot is straight, front foot, front knee, front thigh, all form a straight line. So if you look straight forward, the knee does not buckle in. Sometimes it will buckle in depending on the tightness of your hips and adductors. So you want to make sure. I'd rather see you move your hips and bend the knee safely than open up the hips and hurt the knee, the tendons around the knee. Straight line in the back leg, straight line in the spine and the torso. You want that straight up and down, and then gazing forward, the arms form a straight line. So breathe here, sink a little bit lower into your Warrior Two. A few more breaths. I think we've probably been here a minute and a half, almost 2 minutes. So just a few more breaths, sink a little lower. We'll straighten the leg in a moment. Good, one more breath.
Now push the leg straight. You can scoot the back foot an inch in closer and then drop the back arm down, take the right arm up for reverse warrior pose. And you could do this with the leg bent. If you wanted to keep the leg bent, that's totally fine. But otherwise, lift up, lean back, take a few more breaths. Oh, side stretch here. Now the legs are straight, if the front leg is straight. So there you have the straight line, but the body is bending a little bit up. But breathe deep and stretch. Here you're stretching your side ribs. Take one more inhale. And now we're going to come forward and we're going to start with what's called extended side angle pose. So just start with the forearm to the thigh. You might want to move your back foot back where it was. Left arm over the ear to begin. As the easier version here. And then you're looking up at that top thumb and breathing. So lots to think about here. Spreading the toes. Remember, all four corners of your feet ground down. Engage the abdomen slightly. Tuck the tailbone. So you feel this on the inner hip on your right side here. Lengthening that left arm, so the top arm. Here's a straight line that goes all the way from the back foot through the top fingertips. Now, if you're more comfortable, you can bring that right hand to the floor, either inside the foot or outside the foot. That would be fine. Drop the hips a little bit lower. Hips a little lower. Extend that left arm. Look up at the top thumb. Keep breathing. I'm sorry, the top arm, not the top thumb, the top arm. A few more breaths. One more inhale. And then come on back up, warrior two. Hold it. And then let it go. Hands down. Take the leg back. Vinyasa, lower down. Upward facing dog, easy. And then downward facing dog. Right away to the second side. Left leg up behind you. Bring it forward. Turn the back foot. Warrior one. And then warrior two, open up to the side. Shoulders relaxed, gazing and breathing. Set it all up. Take a moment here. Look at your back foot. Make sure the back foot, you don't want it turned outside to the back. You want it slightly turned in. The outside of the foot is parallel to the back of your mat. That just protects the knee. And then from here, as you sink down, you want this front foot, front knee, front thigh, all to form a straight line. Sometimes this happens, so the upper body moves forward for people. I want you to just kind of be aware, pull it back a little bit just to be aware of that for you, and then sink down a little bit and breathe. And it's always good to maybe look back and then look forward, drop the shoulders down and breathe. And then those fundamentals in yoga, in the meditation. So we had the breathing. So straight spine, you can think of that as just getting the straight lines for your body. And then the breath, a good, calm, smooth, even breath. And then as far as the kind of pusher / coaster, you kind of find what it is for you. So some people, just want to work so much harder, so they're going to go deeper and they're going to have this kind of, grit on their face. It's unnecessary. You can definitely work hard and keep your face relaxed. In fact, I think ultimately that's what you want to do, is be able to have this kind of inner strength that's not like, big and bulky and saying, hey, look at me, right? It's much more about this kind of inner strength that we build from here. I used to say, in the beginning when I started my yoga practice, I thought, I feel like my body's getting stronger from within. And like the deep inside the muscle, I felt like was getting stronger. It wasn't getting bigger. I don't consider myself a big muscle-bound guy at all, but I can do things that I definitely could not do previously. Sink a little bit lower, one more inhale, and then push the leg straight. Back arm down, left arm up and back.
And if you look at some marathoners, for instance, or pro cyclists, for instance, you know, all those guys are so incredibly strong. It's unbelievable what they can do. And they are not big and muscly, right? So it's you don't have to be big. And you know, frankly, women, I've yoga mostly, you know, in classes is mostly women coming a lot. It's more and more men, which I think is fantastic. But some women that come to class and they can do these things, and you're just like, you're a little tiny, Debbie's an example. You're a little tiny thing. What, you know, and she's doing these amazing poses. One more inhale, lift up. And then come forward now, forearm to the thigh, right arm over the ear. Abdomen strong. And I guess ultimately my point with that is to say that we never know what we can, like what our potential is, what we can possibly do. And so the idea of thinking that we have to look strong to be strong is a false idea, because people can look strong and not necessarily be strong. From here, extend, right? So you're kind of extending and reaching and breathing. And then maybe drop that hand down, keep reaching, straight line. So really extend that whole entire right arm there. A couple more breaths. One more inhale. And then we're gonna come back up, warrior two. And let it go. Hands down, leg back. Vinyasa lower. Upward facing dog. And downward facing dog. Good, hold here, a couple breaths. Let's take a moment and stretch the legs. So bend the right leg, push the left heel down, give it a nice big stretch. And then switch sides. Playing with your edges. That's what it is. The pusher or coaster idea is there are some people that kind of push, and then there are some people who coast. The idea behind it is called playing with your edges. Right leg up when you're ready. Take it up, bring it all the way forward. Stay on your back toes today. Crescent pose this time around. I knew there was a term, I just forgot the term. So the three main fundamentals are the lines of energy we talked about. We're going to do warrior three in a moment. And the breathing, and then playing with your edges. So it's up to you. If you want to work hard because you're used to this kind of thing, and then work harder, that's totally fine, but just understand what you're doing. And if you're not, you're taking a little bit of a break, then that's fine too. Again, just understand, you know, what you need on that particular day or class. Go ahead and take the arms up. We're in Crescent Pose. Crescent Pose, the toes are up in the back, the heel is up in the back. Sink down a little bit. We're going to move to warrior three. So the basics, we did our kind of Tadasana, Sun Salutation A, Sun Salutation B, warrior one, warrior two, and now we're doing warrior three. So here's warrior three. Lean forward, step up. And typically when you step up into warrior three, arms go out to the side or maybe back for balance. And if you find that you need to touch the floor a little bit here and there, that's fine. But ultimately, again, we go back to those straight lines, driving that back leg back, flexing that foot. So just go ahead and put your hands down on the floor for a moment. I want you, even if you are bending your standing leg, that's totally fine. I want you to look back at your bottom foot. And I want to make sure that your toes point to the floor and straighten the leg. So you can bend the leg for a moment and then straighten the leg and push that leg back. Now, I want you, now you know. So, and you can even externally and internally rotate that leg just to see the difference. So if your feet are pointed out, that's external rotation. If the toes are pointed down, that's normal. And if the toes are pointed inside to my right, or your right, if you're standing on the right leg, that's internal rotation. So straight down. Now come on back up, warrior 3, and breathe. Now with the arms, ultimately straight legs, standing legs straight, back legs straight, arms straight forward if you can. A few more breaths. One more big inhale. And then both hands down again, bending the standing leg or not. Just lift it up. Now you can go into a standing splits. Couple of breaths. One more inhale. And release that. Just shake it out for a moment. Shake it out. We're going to do, we're going to do a vinyasa. So step back. Step back. Take a vinyasa, lower down. Upward facing dog. And downward facing dog. And then we're going to take the left leg up when you're ready. Left leg up, bring it forward. Stay on the back toes. Whoa. Crescent pose. Same thing, so you're driving this back leg back, feeling the stretch in crescent pose on your front right hip flexor here. And then arms out to the side, lifting the upper body up. Shoulders are down, breathing deeply. No, I don't know if we didn't do this on the other side, but that's okay. One more inhale. And then you're gonna lean forward, step up, warrior 3. There is a tendency to kind of open up this hip right away. That would go toward half moon pose. I don't want you to do that. Once you're up, go ahead and put the hands down and then look back at that foot. So notice when the leg is neutral, and that means your toes are pointed down. You flex the foot, spread the toes. Now you could externally rotate that leg so your toes are pointed to your right. Internally rotate the leg, toes pointed to the left. Just so you know what internal, neutral, and external rotation is. Keep it neutral here, so toes pointed to the floor. Now come back up and breathe. Warrior 3. For balance, if you needed to have the standing leg bent, that's fine. If you needed to have the arms out to the side, that's fine. But ultimately, it's all straight. Straight back leg, straight standing leg, straight arms forward. Breath deep. One more inhale. And then hands down from there. Standing splits, lift it up. Good, one more inhale. And both feet down from there. Shake out the leg. Now we're gonna squat down. I was gonna do this before, but we're going to do both sides first. So the squat is, there's 3 different options. First one is coming down onto the toes like this. Right, that's usually the first option. The next option is with the feet pointed out, and then squatting down. Then your heels can be down, but just got to be careful with the ankles. You don't want the ankles to collapse and heels arch to collapse. If you can, both feet straight forward, and then squat down. So, and if you have knee issues and you can't bend the knees this much, then you're just going to have to bear with us here for a moment. The squat is a great pose because it tells us so much about flexibility in the body, mobility. For instance, the ankle, and then the knee, and then the quadricep, and then the hip, and the lower back. So it's just a good thing to do. Ultimately, I try to tell people that you want to be comfortable in a squat for 3 minutes. So I know that's not normal. A lot of places around the world, this is just how they do work. You just kind of sit there, and of course how they go to the bathroom, but but how they do work. You know, they'll sit here and do this. I remember when I was in India, you know, there's a bunch of kids just sitting on the corner. They were playing dice or whatever they were playing, and they were all sitting like this. And they were all sitting like this for 20 minutes. I mean, this was just the normal way to sit. And it's funny, as I watch my kids grow up, they absolutely, in the beginning, little kids like Liam now, so my little guy is, 16 months? August, September, October, November, December. Yeah, 16 months. And he always will do this. We'll squat down all the time. Madison did it too growing up. You watch any child. This is how they bend down. They just squat and then they come stand back up. Madison does it a little bit less. And it took me a while. It took me a while to be able to be comfortable here for an extended period of time. And I'm really only telling you that story to see if I can avoid some of the pain, if you have any pain. Just kidding. My shins start to burn a little bit. That's kind of what happens for me. All right, so we're just gonna, for fun, we're just gonna throw in an arm balance if you want. So go ahead and straighten the legs. If you want crow pose, now's the only chance to do only one arm balance today. Set the hands, lean forward, balance if you want. You don't have to. And if you're comfortable, of course, any variation that you want. I know some of you are on the more advanced side, so feel free to do your headstand or jump back, whatever you want to do. But eventually, step back, take a vinyasa, and we'll go back to downward facing dog. We'll all meet in downward facing dog. And we're just going to do a little stretch here in the back. So bend the left leg, push the right heel down, stretch it. And then switch sides and stretch. Good. And then we're going to do just a pigeon pose. That's it. So pigeon, coming forward, dropping that right knee, right leg down. And ultimately, pigeon pose is stretching your outer glute back here, right? Not the knee, should not hurt the knee at all. But just come down. We're just going to be here for about a minute-ish, a minute and a half. And for those of you streaming that you tapped into Facebook, we're also streaming with the Malibu Half Marathon and 5K community. So I usually do these on a donation basis. You can go to my website, 5pointyoga.com, the yoga studio website. Scroll down a little bit and there's a few ways that you can pay for your class, and that is of course always greatly appreciated. Thank you for that. And in pigeon pose here, you just want to make sure that you're stretching this kind of outer hip glute a little bit. If it hurts the knee at all, you're going to be in reclining pigeon. So this is a reclining pigeon pose here. Figure 4 stretch, reclining pigeon pose. However you want to describe it. Just a few more breaths here, not long. We're going to do with our revitalizing challenge crew, we're going to do some yin yoga today, 3 p.m. So that's one of the reasons why we're not spending a lot of time in the hips this morning. So you guys, if you aren't able to be at that session, 3 p.m. my time, East Coast time. If you're unable, it will be in the Facebook group, which I'll start. You'll get an email about today, and you can always watch it a little bit later. And that's it. Switch sides there, but that's going to be all hips. So that's just all hips. Longer poses in hip openers. Same thing, other side. And again, if you had any kind of knee issues, then you go to reclining pigeon. That's usually much better. Yeah, and then just as a recap, our kind of fundamentals of the yoga practice. First, in the poses themselves, lines of energy, right? Breathing always. So you want to have that good, consistent, smooth breath. And then playing with the edges. I'm so happy I remember that, because it would have killed me all day. They're like, oh, what is that? But playing with the edges is the concept. So this guy Joel Kramer, who, frankly, I don't even know if he's still alive, but he, back when I started 25 years ago, he was this kind of off the beaten trail, kind of avant-garde yoga guy who was not so traditional in all of the yamas and the niyamas and pratyahara and dhyana and all of those, which we'll discuss in the group, just to give you guys a kind of a high level overview of, you know, a little bit of history of yoga. But he was much more about understanding your body and your breath and all this kind of stuff, and using the yoga practice to enhance the human experience. And I kind of vibed with his way, which was, you know, basically like, there's no, how can you tell anyone a specific way? You have to encourage them to find their own way. And I like that idea. Come on back up from there. We're just going to bring both forward. You know, so while we use these poses as a guideline, so to speak, or an outline to help us in a certain way, you're feeling it totally different than I'm feeling it. And what's important is how you feel it. Shake out those legs, flex the feet back, reach the arms up and fold down forward. So you can drop the head down here. This is seated forward bend. So we had those three fundamentals, and then we did some basics in the poses. We did our Sun Salutations. We did Tadasana, Sun Salutation A, Sun Salutation B, Warrior 1, which is kind of included in there, and then Warrior 2 and Warrior 3. So a lot of what we learned today I refer to on a regular basis, which is kind of why I wanted to start with some of the terminology. So you can stay here at this point and relax, or you can roll back and take your legs up and over your head. Since I have a blanket, I will demonstrate this shoulder stand with a blanket. So basically, you take the blanket and my head will roll off the blanket and my shoulders will be on the blanket. And what that does is it allows space for your neck. So if you happen to have a blanket nearby and you wanted to do shoulder stand the proper way, this is the proper way. And I have one, but it was always two. There's one blanket here. Typically you'd want two blankets. But then you take it up here, and then from here, this is plow pose, and then you support the back and take the legs up and breathe. And not long, we stay, you know, traditionally it's 2 to 3 minutes upside down, but we just stay for half a minute here and breathe. It's funny, I think about how if I wanted to do everything that I wanted to do in yoga, every single class would take 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Good, open the legs there, flex the feet, a few breaths. And then bend the knees, soles of the feet together. And then legs back up. And then down over your head slowly. And then we're going to come down and do our final twist. And then Shavasana. So pull the right knee into the chest, give it a good squeeze in. And roll to the left side. Hold. Good. Then switch it, other side. Good. And then back to the center. Shavasana. Final rest. So we just do, so let's say 2 to 3 minutes here. Eyes closed, feet flop open, arms down out to the side. Take a nice big cleansing breath. Deep, deep inhale. And exhale. Totally, totally relax. Okay, you can slowly bring that left hand to your heart center, right hand to the belly. Just take a nice deep breath. Then the knees roll to your right side. And then make your way up to a comfortable seat. Comfortable seated position, just a short moment to close here. Sitting up nice and tall, shoulders down, palms up, eyes closed. Just take a moment and reconnect mind, body, breath, spirit, energy, all together as one whole being. Bring the palms together at the heart. Take a moment of gratitude. Gratitude for every breath. Namaste. Namaste. Thank you very much. If you're live streaming, I will not see you tomorrow. I will see you Wednesday. So thank you very much for showing up. And I hope to see you on Wednesday. And for the group, I'll see you guys